Before we begin, we do have a early Black Friday offer. What you want to do if you want to learn about that particular offer is to just email hello@deepvue.com, and I'll paste that email in the chat with the words Black Friday offer. And the support team will take care of it starting Monday morning. So tomorrow morning when they're back. This is, mostly for the attendees of this webinar, and we're running an early special Black Friday offer. So with that out of the way, let's get into stage analysis and how we've incorporated stage analysis into Deepvue. So one of the first things that you want to be aware of is the three ways you can kind of, see stage analysis and have it configured in your Deepvue. So one of the first things is with everything that we configure into the platform, that particular data point is available as a column. So we'll try to add that as a column first, so that we could see what stages stocks are in. Looks like my search for some reason is not working. Just give me 1 second. We'll actually go to the screener module, go to settings, go to stage. Okay, it's like search. Yeah, I'm not on my usual setup today, so it will be a little bit iffy. And I also created a new account to just give you guys a feel of what happens for new users, because my setup is pretty highly customized. So we'll try to find stage analysis manually. So if anybody knows where that is, let me know. For some reason, my search is not working today, which is weird. We'll try to find stage analysis. Stan, yeah, there we go. Stan Weinstein. So again, our search is really poor. The team knows about it. That's something we got to work towards. So if I were to add Stan Weinstein stages, which again, we need better naming, better search, just like I struggled there. So you could add it as a column. And once you guys do add it as a column, it will show up in your screener. So now we've added the stage analysis column. You could see that stocks are in stage 1, 2, 3, 2A, which is an early stage 2, a 4B minus setup, which is a very new setup by Stan Weinstein, which we configured into the platform. And that is one way for you to just take a look at what is going on with stages on a stock by stock basis. So the screen that I have up at the moment is the Deepvue Universe screen, which is default loaded when you sign up to the platform. There's 452 results, and you could add stage analysis as a particular column here. So the second thing is you could add it in the data panel. So if I were to just create a new data panel, go to settings, the same thing we'll do, type in Stan Weinstein stages. You could pick the bucket that you want to add it to and add it there. And if I X out of it, it will automatically save and show me that this stock is in stage 2. So that's the second way that you want to be aware of. You could add it as a column. You could add it to your data panel. The third way to visualize, kind of, see on a stock by stock basis, stage analysis in Deepvue is the indicator. So I clicked indicators at the very top. So it's next to the time frame candles and indicators. I click that DV- stage analysis. I make it part of the chart. So what I like to do is have it not be behind my price. So I hover over the DV stage analysis, click the 3 dots, and then click move to, and move it to a new panel above my price. And when I do that, now I know that, the stock is in stage 2, the stock is in stage 2 here, and the stock is in stage 2 as a column as well. Now, if I go to settings, within the indicator itself, you can color code the different stages. So we've done gray for stage 1, green for stage 2, yellow for stage 3. If you prefer orange, you could do that as well. And then stage 4 is red. These are the default settings that are available for this indicator. And then when you go through different stocks, this loads the different stages the stock was in right up at the very top over here. So we've covered basically 3 ways. One is to have it as a column. Second is to have it in your data panel. Third is to have it within the charting module as a indicator. So we've covered those 3 ways, and now let's get into a little bit of how to scan for stage analysis. So if I go to my screens and screener presets, and I just type in stage, what we've done is we've configured different stage analysis screens that are pre-configured for you uh, as a starting point or as a template, right? So we have stage analysis leaders, stage 1, 2, 3, 4 stocks, and a specialized screen for the 4B minus. So with Stan Weinstein's system, if you don't know, we could cover the basics of it right in a few minutes right here. So basically what Stan looks for in the markets is he wants to avoid, he's looking for stage 2 uptrends. He's looking for stage 1 consolidation. So this would be a stage 1 consolidation, breaks out to a stage 2 uptrend, and then goes into a stage 3 and quickly into a stage 4. He tries to avoid stage 4, and 4B minus is a new reversal setup where he tries to pick up the stock in a 4B minus, and he's done that masterfully, really, really well, especially in Netflix. He was in it right over here as a 4B minus setup. It's a late stage 4 is what he calls it, and that's something we've configured into the platform as well, which we call the 4B minus stocks. So much of the system, I would say highly encourage you reading his book. It's available on Amazon for a couple of bucks. A really solid system, especially on the weekly and the daily charts. And then recently he's moved towards more recent, daily charts. We did a whole stage analysis masterclass with him, which he gave us the updated approach, how he approaches stage analysis today after writing the book more than 25 years ago. Which everybody knows about today. So let's go over the screens that we have pre-configured a little bit so that you guys get an idea of what they are about. So first I'll go over the stage analysis leaders. This one is looking for a few things. So I'll zoom in a little bit. And so we're looking for Stan Weinstein stages. So stage 2A, which is an early stage 2, and stage 2 stocks. We're looking for liquid stocks that trade on average $20 million or more in terms of dollar volume. And we have narrowed our universe to common stocks and ADRs. The second requirement we have put in terms of a stock that can be a leadership stock on a 1 and 3 month basis, the absolute strength rating has to be greater than 85. So on a 1 month basis, the stock has to be the top 15% of the market performers, and on a 3 month basis, it also has to be a top 15% in terms of market performance. The third group that we have here is if we want it to be in a top industry rank on a 3 and 6 month basis, so in the top 25. And then on a 1 month, one of the OR conditions is also to be the top 10% of the stocks in terms of performance. If any of these conditions are met, it will make it through to the screen. If any of these conditions are met, it will make it through to the screen. And all of these conditions have to be met for them to qualify as stage analysis leaders. So the other ones we have are pretty simple. So you can scan for, if I want to see all stocks in stage 1, I can see those stocks really, really quickly, especially if you go on the weekly chart, it will become really evident why they are on stage 1. So a 1A is obviously early stage 1, whereas a 1 is now, solid into stage 1. So if you go through these, you'll see stocks that are now in stage 1. I like to run the 4B minus. I think it's one of the best reversal setups within the stage analysis domain. So these are stocks that are starting to rally up and, starting to catch the 50-day from the bottom side is essentially what a 4B minus setup looks for. But in the stage analysis masterclass that we did, this is one of the best, reversal setups that I've seen in a while. and how he approaches it on the daily and the weekly is really, really good. Now, these are the scans. So we have stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4B minus. What you could also do, and what I like to do is to, if we go to presets, and I star all of these. So if I star these, they will turn into watch lists. And I always have a count of stocks in stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 be part of my watch list setup. So these numbers underneath update real time. Also, if you could look, we've now included them in the drop down. So you could see stage 1 stocks, there's 122, 2284, 454, and 1659. We will have a better way of doing this in the dashboard very, very soon, likely part of our Q4 roadmap to build a basic app that gives you these numbers right away. But for now, for you to see which stocks are in stage 1, 2, 3, and 4, you could quickly convert them from screeners to watch list by pressing that star icon like I did. If I By pressing the star, it converts these screeners into watch lists, and then you can have them be available in a drop down. I also like to create a folder. If I just call this stage analysis, we'll create a folder and we'll place all of these screens in there. So we'll place stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if I go to the drop down, you can see stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we have them here. It makes a nice screenshot as well if you want to keep a log of, what the stages are. That's the best way that exists right now. Obviously, it's not the most convenient, and we will create a dashboard app with a lot of extensive stage analysis. Uh, it will show a lot more than just the stage numbers. It will show historical number of stage 1 stocks, historical number of stage 2, 3, and 4 stocks. And I think Nick, one of the co-founders, shared a screenshot of what those widgets will look like on social media last week. So we're starting to work on that, finalize the design, and then get it into development. So we covered how to add it as a column, how to add it into your data panel so you always have it, how to see number of stages by the scans and convert them into watch lists, how to add it as an indicator as well. Now the other thing I did want to cover is if you guys have ever have any questions, we have this amazing knowledge base, which when you click on it, if I click and type in Stan, you'll see all the different, let's just type in Stan Weinstein and everything that's kind of related to it. So if you want to learn more about the indicator and how to use it, we have a whole article on what that is and how to configure it and what these different stages mean. On the YouTube side, if you just go to YouTube stage analysis, Deepvue, or stage analysis Traderline, you can learn a lot of, there's all free information about what stage analysis is. I still highly recommend that you guys get the book and read through that to really master it. And then second, for a more updated stage analysis approach, go to the Traderline website where we did the masterclass with them. So I will answer a few questions. We will pause here for a second just to answer questions, and then I'll continue forward. What is the difference between stage 2 and 2A? Is there a 2B? Stage 2A is an early stage 2. So when a stock, Stan basically is anticipating that the stock is about to go into a confirmed stage 2. So a 2A is an early stage 2. And stage 2 is when a stock is in stage 2 or it has been in 2A for 10 days or more. And that's really the difference between 2 and 2A. There's no 2B. Indicator on stage analysis, while it's Stan Weinstein stages in the display columns, inconsistent name or the same thing. Definitely a good question there. We gotta be consistent with our naming. We're not. We're calling it Stan Weinstein stages, and then we're calling it stage analysis, and then we're calling it something else in 3 different places. So I'll work with the team to make that consistent. It's all the same thing. Anything to do with Stan Weinstein is all related to stage analysis. In his book, Stan used the Mansfield relative strength to determine a stage 2 uptrend. Does DV have this indicator? Yes, we do. So I should have covered that as well. So if I go to DV-Mansfield relative strength, you can add it to your charts at the very bottom over here. And then we have the configs of the default being the SPY and the MA length being 52. These are the ones that are used in his book, and we color coded the back of it as well accordingly. So if it's a positive, uh, the positive color, the neutral, where the MA is rising, the MA is falling, and the negative. So we've taken the definition out of the book and configured it over here as well. So the indicator exists. And we've also done a video on how to exactly use and interpret this particular indicator. For a newbie, this is like drinking from a fire hose. How do I learn the basics before I take on this level of complexity? I would say take a step back. It's important that you just if you're looking for and I'm speaking from a stage analysis perspective, uh, learn it by reading the book, taking a look at masterclass. Just go to YouTube and type stage analysis. There's hundreds of things that you can learn. Pick that one thing that you do want to learn, and then come back, and that then you'll kind of tactically think about, do I scan for stage twos? If stage two, the number of stage twos in the market is greater than number of stage fours, the market is healthy as a whole, and then you could do that analysis, which I'll cover in a little bit as to how I use stage analysis after I get through a few of these questions. So if you add all stage 1, 2, 3, 4, it only comes to around 4,200 stocks. What happened to the rest of the stocks in the Deepvue database? So we have 11 to 12,000 stocks in the Deepvue database. In the stage analysis domain, we limit it to common stocks and ADRs, and that limits the universe from 11,000 stocks to somewhere around 4 to 6, and not all stocks make it to a particular stage at all times, right? So then that filters it out, and that's how we end up with 4,200. We've done extensive QA of all four of these data points in terms of stage analysis. We've double checked and triple checked our work. So the universe is narrowed to common and ADRs. That's why the 12,000 stocks comes, only 4,200 have stages assigned to them. Great question. Can we set an alert to see when a stock is changing between stages? We do not have that just yet. It's a great point and a great suggestion to eventually do that as part of our notification slash alerts module. And when we do have conditional alerts, we'll probably make it part of, so when the stock changes stages, you will get alerted for that particular stock. Can you talk about how you turned the stages into an auto-updating watch list? Yes, let's do that once more. Maybe I went a little too fast. So if I go to the screener and I click my screens and then click screener presets, if I type in Stan, I get all the Stan Weinstein presets that we've configured. And to the left of it, there's a star. When you click that, it will get filled in. So if I get rid of it, it will say successfully deleted. If I click it, it will get successfully added. So when I started all of these, they then go to this star, which is the watch list module, and they will show up here and also in the dropdown. So let's move that back into the folder. It's now in the folder. So I have stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. I created this folder myself. So you go create new folder, and that's how we got it. Is it available for NSC and India stocks? When we do launch in India, this stage analysis will be available. We do not offer Deepvue for the Indian stock market just yet. It is in our roadmap to accomplish that. Can you add a moving average to the Mansfield strength indicator? So, yes, we can. There's a lot of, I would just say sensitive people out there when we try to, do things a little bit differently. We did have it. We will, based on the request, add it back. We do not have it at the moment. We kept it fairly simple for now. Is the stage calculated on the weekly time frame or daily time frame internally? It's the stages are based on, we work closely with Stan Weinstein on the masterclass that we did on the Trader Line side. So we took those definitions and we applied them to have the most updated way of looking at stage analysis from the horse's mouth, which is Stan Weinstein. So the approaches in his book versus the approaches that are now available in the stage analysis masterclass differ slightly. And we've taken both elements of the weekly and the daily to then configure it into Deepvue so that we have the most updated approach by the author of stage analysis, Stan Weinstein. Okay, we talked about this. How long before an IPO stock gets into a Weinstein stage? I think the minimum requirement is 50 days of trading for things to get into a stage. Once it has that amount of data, then it makes it to one of the stages. That was one of the questions that people asked then in the masterclass that we did. Can you set an alert if the Mansfield indicator crosses 0 or crosses the moving average to alert for breakouts? We do not have that just yet. When we get into conditional alerts later on, which will likely be early Q1 next year, we will get into how you can set alerts with, any indicator or stage analysis itself. What is the Stan Weinstein checklist in the screener preset? So if I go to Stan Weinstein checklist, I'll take a look. Screener right there. Checklist. We do not have a description attached to this, which is not good. We'll get that description attached. But I think, yes, now I remember. So this is based on one of the checks, one of the checklists that he has in his stage analysis book, where he states that the stock must be in the top industry group. The stock must have the price be above the 30-week moving average. The price must not be extended. So we put that in. It must be the stock must be showing high relative strength. So that was this criteria. Must be in a stage. So we put 1 to 3. He always avoids stage 4. That was another thing on his checklist, and it's a common stock or ADR. So this particular checklist is based on one of the things that he has in his book, where he says, this is how I buy stocks and this is what I avoid in the market. So we built out this very a couple days ago, actually. I built that out as I was rereading the book itself. So Stan Weinstein checklist is based on that. Can we use this for futures? Likely, yes. I haven't used it for futures myself. So you can try to use it. I would say, back test it a little bit. Stan mostly focuses on stocks. He's big on just trading stocks, common stocks. But I'm sure there's a use case for it on the futures market. But me personally, I haven't taken a look at it from that lens, nor have we asked Stan if it works on the futures market. Okay, so let's get into a little bit about how I use stage analysis in my trading, just to give you guys a view of what I feel it's best for, or how I've incorporated it into my swing trading. So one of the things that I do is always keep tabs of if the number of stocks in stage 2 is greater than the number of stocks in stage 4, that means we're in a net positive market environment. When this equation flips where the number of stocks in stage 4 are greater than the number of stocks in stage 2, that means the market is predominantly or being dominated by stage 4, which is basically stocks that are in a downtrend and not an uptrend, right? So this is one of the key metrics that you want to keep track of how many stage 2 stocks there are and how many stage 4, and you want stage 2 to be greater than stage 4 always if you paint that market environment, as a positive one. The second thing that I really look for in stage analysis, I trade on the daily time frame more than the weekly, so we'll get rid of the Mansfield here. I like to correlate it with the Deepvue relative strength indicator. So I put the relative strength line, I'll click the 3 dots, go to more, move to existing pane above. So this is how I like to set things up. So if a stock, if I go to, this one that I recently traded, ABP, uh, what I like to see is that that a stock is in a relative strength phase. So it's exhibiting relative strength. That means that the on a 21-day basis, it's outperforming the S&P 500, and the stock is in stage 2 uptrend as well. So this is this light green that you see on the screen. This is a early stage 2 after going into a brief stage 3. Right here, the stock reverses. The stock goes into a relative strength phase, and it's in an early stage 2. This right here is of interest to me to get back into the stock for this particular move. So I like to combine relative strength and stage 2, or an early stage 2 signal, to really hone in on which stocks I want to be participating in. Awesome. So how do you get the relative strength to show on the stage analysis indicator to show on the relative strength? So I just did that. I will move it back to, so when you add these two indicators, let's just get rid of both of them and do this again. So you go to right next to your daily time frame, there's candles, and then there's indicators. You click indicators, you type in stage analysis, so DV-stage. I click that. I've now added stage analysis, and we'll also add DV-relative strength. We'll click that. We've now added relative strength. Now, this is obviously skewing your scaling because they're all on the same scale. So to get them on different scales, you just hover over the name of your indicator. You go to move to, you go to new pane above. So now you have a separate panel and separate scaling than your price. And the same thing we'll do for Deepvue relative strength. We'll hover over that, click the 3 dots, go to move to, and go to new existing pane above. So add it to the same panel as the stage analysis panel. And now you have both of them overlaid on each other. And that doesn't skew your price action as well. So things are much easier that way. The second thing that and how I tend to use it is I add the DV key moving averages indicator, and I configure my moving averages, especially for the weekly, to correlate with what Stan has recommended, which is the 10-week and the 40-week in his book. So with the Deepvue key moving averages indicator, once you can configure your intraday moving averages, your daily moving averages, your weekly and your monthlies. And when I go to the weekly time frame, it will automatically put the 10-week and the 40-week onto my chart. So if I go to this and I go to my weekly time frame, you'll see that the data, go to the weekly time frame, the moving averages that I have over here, the 10-week and the 40-week, are automatically there. And then when I go back to my daily time frame, then I go back to my moving averages, which I've configured on my daily. This is a brand new account. These are not the moving averages that I use on my daily. I use the 10. I like to do this and then get rid of that. 10, 21, and 50. And then I always use a traffic light system. So 10 is a go. You want to press on the gas. It's a green light. Orange when stock breaks the 21-day. That's a caution signal. And then red is when it's below the 50-day. I seldom trade stocks below the 50-day. So I like to use this on the daily, the green, orange, and red light traffic light system. Awesome. Thanks, Darren. That is awesome. I am taking notes, giving a lot of info. Thanks so much. Why did the first time you add stage analysis on app, it was different colors, stages/colors? Now, when you re-added it for the QA question, it only shows one stage/color. I'm not sure if that happened or not. It still shows stage 2A, still shows relative strength in the same. Maybe it is a glitch, or we'll try to look back at the recording and replicate it. That shouldn't be the case. The stock is still, what we spoke about right in this area. Stage 2 uptrend, got up. We just added moving averages, so maybe it looks a little bit different now. But I'll take a look at it if that did happen. after this call. Great question, Mike. Is there an alert one can set when a stock moves from stage 1B to a 2A? So just to be sure, there is no stage 1B. There is stage 1 and there's 2A, but we don't have a mechanism for you to alert yourself on when a stock transitions from one stage to another. That is something that we will work upon as part of our alert updates. And this has been suggested multiple times in this webinar. So I'll definitely make a note of it, and that we'll definitely get it into Deepvue as part of our conditional alert update. Is there a way to filter out only stocks which are optionable? We do not have a filter for optionable and non-optionable just yet. That is going to be part of when we move to the new data sources that we have and the new fundamentals. So it will be available under general really, really soon. It's just not available at the moment. Out of many stage 2A and 2 stocks, how do you or Stan decide which stock to take a position in? Thanks. So there's a lot of other elements that I combine stage analysis with, like I spoke about. I take a look at relative strength if a stock is outperforming the markets, plus if a stock is in stage 2, those things have to correlate. The second thing, like we spoke about in yesterday's webinar, is the stock has to be, if it's in the top industry group, it's one of the highest performing stocks in its particular sector group, industry, or sub-industry. So you want to correlate different things. And I completely agree with what you said there, is if I go to stage 2, there's 2,284 stocks. How do I decide which ones to buy and which ones to sell? That's where knowledge comes into play. You really want to hone in on, creating a system that's more a trader line, educational type of question, than a Deepvue how to use stage analysis within Deepvue type of question. So you want to correlate different strategies. I could sit here probably talk for 2-3 hours. I would say watch the Ultimate Trading Guide, 10 webinars, over 14 hours of content that we did absolutely for free on YouTube, and you'll probably get your answer, on exactly how to use these things from an educational perspective. Perfect. So I'll go through comments a little bit. We're about 35 minutes in, and then I'll cover one more use case on how I use stage analysis, and we'll wrap it up. How is the relative absolute strength calculated? So absolute strength in the market is calculated on price performance of that particular, of all stocks in the market, and we rank them versus the stocks that we have in our database. So that is what absolute strength is. Whereas relative strength is a weighted market calculation where it takes into account 1 month performance, blends it with 3, 6, 9, and 12 to get you a blended relative strength. Whereas absolute strength is a raw price performance calculation. Okay, okay? A lot of repeated questions in the comments. Is there a way to fill okay? Awesome. It looks like I answered. Will the new data source include European or Asia stocks? No, it will not. We will remain in USA. The new data source includes new fundamental data, crypto data, pricing data going back to 1970. We'll do that first before we go into Europe and Asia and other global areas with Deepvue. What is your exit criteria? So that again is a really generalized question. For me, if I were to just answer that in less than 10 seconds, 2 closes below the 21-day, I exit this stock. Again, it's more educational. I would highly recommend you guys go to Traderline, and look at the Ultimate Trading Guide series that we did. That answers, sell rules, buy rules, risk management, all of those things, not related to stage analysis in a lot of detail. Any news on fundamentals data? So we spoke about that yesterday. Again, fundamental data will be available in the platform in Q4. All of the fundamentals that you can possibly think of. If you get time, can you please go over one more time the initial setup you explained? It went too fast. At the data panel, screen, and individual stocks for stage. Yes. So let's do that. We will after this webinar, I will create a stage analysis data panel with all the relevant data points that are important to stage analysis. We'll include them in a data panel. What I went over is you can add stage analysis as, the Weinstein stages as a column. So to add it as a column, you just click settings. The column settings will pop up and you just type in Stan, and you go to Stan Weinstein stages, and you could select that particular stage and that shows up right here and over here. So that way, on a per stock basis, if that's how you want to take a look at things, it's available as a column. The second way we said you could add that same data point into your data panel. So if I go to my data panel, you enable it by clicking this particular icon on the top right. You click settings. Now you can add any data point that you want. So if I type in Stan and which bucket I want that in, I can add it or remove it. So if we added it over here, now I get data for, Apple is in a stage 2A, it's in a stage 2A. The third way to look at stage analysis is to add it as an indicator. So to add things as indicators, you go next to the time, we got time frame, we got the type of candlesticks that you want, and the third one, which is the indicators, and you just type in DV dash stand or stage, and then you have stage analysis right here. You add it to your charts that way as well. The recording of this call will be available if you're on the list. We will send it out so you can watch it unlimited times. And if you have any questions, you can pop them in the comments of the video when it is published. And we're more than happy to assist you that way as well. Could we use the column as filter, show specific stages or industry rank stocks? Right now, we don't support inline filtering. So if you add a column and you want to add something with it, just inline right away, we do not support that just yet. But you can add, you can screen for exactly what you said. If I create a new screen and I go to Weinstein, so let's say, I'm creating a new screen and I want stage 2 stocks and I want stage 4B minus stocks in the same screen. You just select the stages that you're interested in. They're over here. There's about 5,000 stocks in these two stages. And then you can add your liquidity criteria, right? I want stocks above price of $15 or more. I want average volume to be this and that. I want price percent change to be that, right? So you can create a full screen based on stage analysis right off the bat as the, whichever way you want to customize it based on how you see, how you want to scan the markets. So that is completely configurable. So we have Stan Weinstein stages available as a filter, and then you can combine it with all the other fundamental technical criterias that we have to create, what we could call this custom Stan screen. You can save it to a folder. It is always saved in this dropdown and always available for you to edit, do anything that you want with it here. I missed yesterday's webinar. Is the recording available? It will be sent out tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Can you please repeat and show your preferred MA timeframes for daily and weekly charts? Yes. So let's do that. So I add the DV key moving averages indicator. Again, the way you add it is DV dash key moving averages, right? I use this. It allows me to, under inputs, set my intraday MAs that I want when I go to an intraday chart. Intraday meaning less than daily time frame. If I go to a daily chart, which MAs I want. And if I go to a weekly chart, which MAs I want. So let's just do that. So on the daily chart, whoops. On the daily chart, I have the 10, 21, and 50. So the 10-day, the 21-day, and the 50-day. On the weekly chart, I have the 10-week and the 40-week. And then on the daily, when I go under style, I use the green, orange, and red, just the traffic light system. So above the 10-day, awesome. Close to the 21-day, be a little cautious. Below the 50-day, I tend to, for my system and how I trade, not look at stocks mostly below 50-day at all. Okay, so we will wrap it up there. The last use case that I do want to cover before we wrap it up is the fact that you can screen. Let's just go through and create a custom, I would say 4B minus screen together. And it I really want to show you guys the reversal setup that I learned from Stan and how I kind of look at it and tackle that. So, one thing when creating screens, let's start from scratch, is I like to look at stocks that are liquid. So I will add, I want the price to be greater than $5. I want the average volume. We could do dollar volume actually. So I'll put dollar volume. It will scroll me to that. Again, our search needs to improve. It's one of the focus points from a UI perspective to improve this, because when I search, I'm kind of lost in looking at what I searched for. So we have dollar volume right here. So the average 20-day dollar volume, let's just say 5 million or more. That's again a liquidity criteria. I want stocks to also, for the 4B minus setup, have a float of less than, I would say, let's do 200 million. So that narrows it down a little bit, maybe 150 million. So this is number of shares available to trade. The lower, the better, the faster, the more volatility. And then the last one that I like is just force it for 4B minus. So I only want to see, this is a reversal screen again that we're creating. So we'll edit the name, reversal setup by Stan, save the changes, go to edit, and we lost all of our changes. Great. We got 4B minus. Let's do dollar volume again. Did find a bug, so we'll get that fixed. Dollar volume 20-day greater than a million. And then I want float. Float, share structure, less than 150 million. So now we have our liquidity criteria plus 4B minus. There's about 115 of those in the markets. So we'll save that. Let's just go over some of these results. So these are stocks that are starting to bottom. And Stan Weinstein, this is one of the things that I learned. I've been searching for a reversal setup for quite a while, right? I've studied many of them. This one was really, we sat on the phone, when we did the Trader Line masterclass, and he really taught me this really, really well. One thing he looks for is a higher low. So this low, the stock, really gets beat down into a stage 4, goes through its stage 4 and tries to get back into a stage 1. And then the stock creates a higher low where this low is higher than that low, and then runs into the 50-day from the bottom side. So for us, the 50-day is this red line. So I'll actually, for the sake of demonstration, this red line is the 50-day, right? That's our traffic light system that we spoke about. And when the stock reclaims the 50-day after, it's been in a stage 4, he really hones in right here on the reversal setup. So he anticipates that the stock, when it reclaims it, creates a higher low. That's the first requirement. Second, reclaims that 50-day, turns into a 4B minus setup for him. And he did this really, really well on Netflix when everybody was pretty much, pretty pessimistic about what Netflix is doing. So right about here, it's in a stage 4. Our indicator confirms that this stock is in a stage 4, right? Stage 4, red, stage 4, below the 50-day. And he got involved in Netflix right around here because that was the first reclaim of that 50-day above a consolidation. The stock has a higher low. There's a low and a higher low right there. and then it reclaimed, and he got involved in Netflix right here. And we know what happened thereafter, right? If we zoom out, it never saw that price. So basically, that 4B minus setup, the stock went, we're talking about right here, the 4B minus setup happening right here. It went into a stage 2, and Netflix went from 189 to $772. So that's the 4B minus setup that I really learned from him. I've been searching for this for many, I've studied, I do a lot of my own studies to find things, but this was a really solid way of a reversal setup where the stock reclaims what the first requirement, again, I'll slow down, is the higher low, right? The higher low that is created. The second is a reclaim of the 50-day, which is this red solid line that I have up on my uh, screens, and then breaking the top side of this consolidation. He got involved right here. Again, it's harder to hold these stages, right? It reclaims, builds a new base, breaks out again, but it gives you a really good reversal setup to play with. And you guys know, I mean, that's the rest is history. And he went over this in quite some detail and also real time. Like we created the masterclass right around here. He's like, hey, I'm focused on Netflix. I think he's pretty confident. He reads, when he says I'm reading the tape, he reads price action a lot. And he's like, I've seen this happen again and again in the markets. So we found this, the 4B minus really takes this type of setup into account. As I go through this, you guys will see, you want right here, you got a higher low, reclaim of the 50. You want to get involved right here. It's a reversal setup in this particular name, right? As I go through this, you can now visualize what we just spoke about hundreds of times because there's 115 results possible. And you probably want to weed out, again, the liquid ones, the ones that have a higher low, ones that have good, price and volume action right around, as they're trying to reverse on updates, things of that nature. So I will take this screen. I am going to share the link to it. So reversal setup screen. So we'll call it the 4B minus, just to make sure everybody knows this is Stan's. And that is a screen that you guys can import into your Deepvues. So I will link it in the comments as well when this is uploaded to YouTube. This same screen will be uploaded there. But again, this reversal setup, I think, it's worth your time to study it. And if you're really curious about this, you probably want to check out the masterclass that we did with him. He did a whole session, kind of just like a video, talking about 4B minuses and why he uses them now. And this is on a daily, right? This is not spoken about in the book that he wrote in 1970s. This is a new type of reversal setup that he's taken a look at recently. So that's 4B minus. That's what I wanted to cover when it comes to stage analysis. I wanted to make it worth your guys' time to really get into the details of how I use 4B minus and why it's valuable and why we configured it into the platform. And I use this extensively as one of my reversal setups that I have in the markets. Here's the criteria. So stage 4B minus, last price is greater than 15, average dollar volume is greater than $5 million or more. I want the lower floats because I want higher volatility. This is not a Stan requirement. It's more a me requirement because I like things to move faster. So less amount of shares available in the markets, greater chance it gets into a float turnover. It's a different concept, float turnover, meaning the volume the stock trades on a weekly basis is higher than the available number of shares in the market, right? And that really creates and runs a reversal setup to the upside as well. So that's the criteria right here. So I'll wrap up. We got about 10 or 15 questions to get through. I will get through those and we'll wrap it up there. And I really wish, I hope this was worth your guys' time. Would you prefer the screen for stage analysis? I prefer the screen for both, depending on the situation. So Trent, Minervini's trend templates versus Stan Weinstein. So William O'Neill, Stan Weinstein are big inspirations to how Minervini came up with his system. So his system is almost derived from different elements that he learned from William O'Neill and Stan Weinstein. So I don't, that's really a you question. Which one do you prefer? We have both that are available within the platform when it comes to Deepvue. I tend to mix it up as well. I don't have a preference for one or the other. Um, can you look at historical data on either column or data panel by clicking on the bar chart? Great idea. We've heard a lot of this as you go through this. The data over here changes. We don't have that just yet. We will in the future, likely next year, Q1, to make that happen. Thanks for the phenomenal platform. It definitely improved me as a trader for value seeking positional trader. Any suggestions on using stage analysis for going long with weekly charts? You could definitely use the traditional stage analysis still. Look for stage twos, flip to a weekly chart, based on Stan Weinstein's technique in the books, right? It still works. So what we've configured is also, it's a mix of daily and weekly, but it still truly works on the weekly time frame as well. Can you set up multiple daily, weekly moving averages for different strategies? Yes, you can. So for that, what you want to do is use something called indicator templates. So if I save this as an indicator template, at the bottom of this, it will say saved indicator, stage analysis, relative strength line, key moving averages. So this could be my, swing trading indicator template. And then when I click it, I can load it here as well. So when I delete all of this stuff, you'll see what happens now. So let's say I have a blank chart. I go to indicator templates and swing trading. It will apply all those indicators for me with the settings as well. So now you could kind of see what you can do with this. You can have a swing trading template, a position trading template, a day trading template, and you could switch between swing trading, swing, day, and position in 3 clicks. And you'll have 3 different indicator templates set up for you with the settings remembered for that particular template. I hope that made sense. What is float? Float is the number of shares that are available to be traded in the market for that particular company. So companies will have a billion float. That means there are a billion shares available to be traded, buy and sell. Whereas some companies have 200 million shares available in the market to be traded. So that's what float is. Quick Google search I would do is like just float Investopedia or something to get, the full rundown on what float is. Is this screener you're making different from the 4B minus screener already in place? Yes, the screener that we made is a little more customized to my type of trading. I put in a dollar value requirement. I put in the shares float requirement, whereas the 4B minus that we have in the platform as a preset is just a pure 4B minus, just simple 4B minus. Then what you want to do with presets, they're just starting points and template screens for you to then go and duplicate and make your own. So any of these screens, we have the full criteria available. There's nothing hidden as to how we created these screens. But if you want to customize them, you go to this, you click the 3 dots, you click duplicate, and you make it happen, right? According to your style. I have a question about the IBD50 data. It isn't available anymore. I will take a look at, we have CanSlim. I don't know what that, this is a traditional CanSlim. But if you want the IBD50 holdings, you just go FFDY and click holdings, and we have those right here. So FFDY is the IBD50 ETF, and this gives you the latest holdings for that FFDY ETF. That's what we have in the platform right now. They did reach out to us and say don't use the words IBD because it's copyright and all of that. So we got rid of that particular aspect of it from our presets. Again, it's just a competition thing, but you still have FFTY and you click holdings, the H next to it, you'll see the holdings of that. And these are updated daily. So these are the top holdings of FFTY right here. Strange. I did the same screen and got 132 stocks. So there might be something different in the screen that you created and the screen that I created. I will put it up on the screen once more. Take a look at it here. Mine's $15. You might have put 5 or something different. Average dollar volume is 5 million or more, and shares float is less than 150. So we should be getting the same results. I put the screen in the comments. So it's, if you got it from there, it should be the exact same amount of results. Please put up, okay, we did that. Also, before you go, can you show the custom 4B minus screener? There we go. We have it up on the screen. With the 4B minus, you had already rebounded. So is this screen good for showing stocks on the, yes. So this screen is good for showing stocks that are on their way as well. It will also include stocks that are still in 4B minus. So it's not really like show me stocks that are about to be, it's more so the stocks that are already in it and they're stocks that are about to go in or are in early stages. So that screening is about giving you a universe to fish in, the 115 stocks. Then you take those 115 and find setups within that. Maybe someday we will have something where it just says out of these 115, two are good. But we don't have that. Right now it's more about, this is how you screen for them. And then you got to go through it, kind of, process of elimination, find the best ones. So that's where art comes into play after you screen. So 12,000 stocks going down to 115, pretty good, right? How do you figure the volume into your daily and weekly? I use volume a lot. So the DV, we have the enhanced volume indicator. I have this up. This again is a new account, so that's why you guys don't see my typical setup, but I do use this. When the stock is reclaiming, especially in a 4B minus setup on high volume, and then it gets supported and then rallies up and out of it, that's what you want to see, right? So volume plays a key role, both in daily and weekly for me. Can you share the filter for reversal link? Yes, I just did that. I could do it again. 4B minus reversal setup screen right here. So I shared that again in the chat. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, we'll also have it in the comments. With the setup, with this setup, do you buy when it breaks the 50-day or when it rebounds from the reclaim? I buy it when it reclaims the 50-day, then I place a stop, and then I want it to form a consolidation and respect it. And then when it breaks the top side again, I add more. Again, this is a newer setup for me, so I'm not going completely AWOL with high position sizes. I want to learn this. So this is like, again, a really good one. Higher, low, reclaim of the 50. Now it has been supported by the 50, and it's starting to reverse to the upside. The
12 o'clock.
The 50 days are also starting to slope from a declining 50-day to a rising slope of the 50-day, which is again a positive sign. Again, a reversal setup, it takes a little bit of time. It's like a sideways S basically. It takes a little bit of time for it to form itself out. I would say Netflix is a really good example of a 4B minus reversal setup that we spoke about right here that you want to study. There are many more in the masterclass that we did. We have a whole model book of the 4B minuses as well. Okay, I have sent the link for the 4B minus. Again, is there a Thanksgiving special for Stan Weinstein to complement this class? Yes, we do have a 40% off anniversary thing, up to 40% off on the TL side. Definitely check it out. I think it's one of, the Oliver Kell masterclass that we did and the Stan Weinstein, top notch, like in terms of learning. I wouldn't say that because with just to say that, I've taken these myself. I work with Stan on that masterclass, spending hours and hours on the phone, just extracting as much knowledge as we possibly could, and building model books and getting the updated stage analysis approach. Since 25 years ago when he wrote that book, one of the things he said, I'm never going to write a book again, but you guys approached me for a class, so he did that with us, which again we're honored. Brilliant session, awesome, thank you. I fixed my screen, it was a little off, perfect. Will canceling based recognition system be available next year? We'll do pattern rec next year once we move to our own charting system. Amazing webinar, lots of info, awesome, thank you. What does the 4B minus screen for? Like what criteria does it need for a 4B minus? A 4B minus is a reversal setup that looks for stocks that are in stage fours and are starting to be candidates for a late stage four. A late stage four is when a stock is, starting to go sideways. The slope of the 50-day is then starting to flatten. It looks for a lot of those, reversal elements that we learned from Stan, and we just codified that to look for the 4B minus. The exact setup I just went over, you could probably, do that visually a lot more. The 4B minus screen that we created just automates that visual element as well. I can only see FFTY, not FFTY holdings. Again, I will go over how to get to holdings. So if I search the word FFTY, there's a H right next to it. And when you click that, you will see the top will turn into FFTY holdings. And now you have the holdings of FFTY. Now, if I X out of this, it will go back to the screen that I'm on. Again, I will search FFTY and you click the H next to it. This H is clickable. When you click it, you go into the holdings for that. And this is available for any ETF. So if we go SPY, I want to see S&P 500 stocks. They are over here. If I go to QQQ holdings, they're over here for anything. 10, you want to see solar stocks. Oops, 10 holdings. That's also available here, right? So that's available for any ETF throughout our platform. By the way, dark mode is saving my eyesight. Thanks. That's awesome. A firm, nice example. Let's take a look at a firm. Let's see. So something like this. Yeah, yeah. So like you got to be in stage four. A firm is a solid stage four. Then you get a higher, what you want ideally. This is not it's not high. Well, kind of. I mean, Stan always look for a higher low and it would be really visible. So this might not have called it, but there's a lot of volume into this, a reclaim of the 50-day that, he would get involved and then he would get involved on the top side of this, maybe over here as well. But this is again, more in a stage two area, but he would be looking at it. It has to be in a solid stage four for it to be a reversal setup, right? So this is stage four, most of this stage four, 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 and then start to form a bottom right here. Maybe, not the best, I would say, example, but again, you got to study more of these to get in line with exactly what he's looking for. Oh, great webinar. Thank you. Thanks, Frank. Can you change the settings to dark mode? Yes, you can. If you click accounts and then you go to theme, you can toggle on dark mode. It will say confirmation and you're in dark mode. So we're in dark mode now. I like to do the webinars in light mode, but then you can switch back if you want. So we're back in light mode, go back to dark mode, go back to light mode. Perfect. So we answered that. Looks like the 4B minus the noticeable higher low happens under the 50-day before the yes. These are observations as you make as you see more of these 4B minuses work. And you see them and develop, you'll develop a feel for them and then it will become a lot more natural for you to trade them. The holdings feature only works for US stocks, not foreign stocks. Example, yes. It only works for the stocks that we have in the database. We just don't have data for those other stocks, so we don't show those foreign stocks. So within KWeb, if we do KWeb and we go to holdings, it will show the stocks that are in our database, but the holding percentages are still correct. So likely for KWeb, this doesn't add up to 100% because there are foreign stocks that are not available in Deepvue, so we don't show those as rows at the moment. The Stan Weinstein preview is amazing. We'll send you an email. Awesome. Thank you. Looking forward to that. Can you give me an example of a 4B minus setup right now? Let's go through this screen and let's kind of find a good one. If I do that, if I just give you a ticker, you might not value it as much as if we find one live, in my opinion, where you could see how I'm thinking about it. So like something like this. So like okay, so this is an ETF Maybe we should have added one more criteria of common stocks. But let's take a look at this. So we got a higher low, we got a higher low, we got a declining 50-day, right? We've got a declining 50-day, and now it's starting to reclaim right here. So it attempted to reclaim. So somewhere around this 30 top side, 30, 31 top side, you can get involved because that would be the first, uh, top side consolidation. The second way you would get involved is you could take the 50-day reclaim, place your stops at the low right around here, or the low of the day that it reclaimed the 50-day to keep it tighter. So that could be one potential one. So let's just keep going through. Let's see if we can find a really good one. Again, we're looking for solid stage 4 going into, a higher low and then reclaim a 50. So we got higher low, reclaim a 50. We got this consolidation right here, solid stage 4 CVI. So he would be picking this up right about now, right? So that's it. That's a good reversal. There's again 3 things we're looking for: higher low, solid stage 4, higher low, and then reclaim a 50. That's kind of your mental checklist as you go through this. It's a little bit hard for me because I'm on one screen. I have Zoom that you guys don't see up on the same screen, and part of my screen's also the platform. This one's a pretty good one. Again, Lulu, solid stage 4, right? This is a solid stage 4 downtrend. We got a higher low. We got a clear higher low right here. And we got a flattening 50-day. We can reclaim that right here. And we have this consolidation. It's still pretty early, I would say, for a reversal on LU, right? So this again is it's a reversal setup right here. So you can get involved here. Your stops would be again, reversal setups, you're not going 40% position size, right? Because they're still in a downtrend. You're anticipating a move to the upside. So you scale in, so you get in here, you hold it, and then now this topside consolidation is formed. And I'm speaking as if how Stan was speaking to me when he taught me this. So now a break of 280 would get this into a solid, stage 1. Then stage 1 forms out, we'll get to a 2A. The stage 2A forms out, gets into a 2. That's really how he looks at it. He goes from a 4B minus to a 1A to a 1 with a 2A and then a solid 2. That's how Netflix went for him. So I would say this one's a great one. Lulu's a good one. So you get the point. I'm really trying to drill down the concept of what he was looking for. Higher low, big volume coming in. I don't know the stock. It's a 3 times leverage ETN. So that might tell you something about where those are headed. But yeah, I would add one more criteria here just to make things better, would be common stock and ADR. So that gives you 94. That just takes out the ETFs out of it. Because Stan usually looks at stocks. He's looking for common stocks. So I hope you get the point, and I answered that question. Yeah, root 4B minus. I think we just saw root right here. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. We could sit here and really get into studying 4B minus. But that you guys have it now. If you guys have any questions after the fact, definitely happy to answer them. Again, we are running our early Black Friday offer for folks that are attending our webinars. So email hello@deepvue.com, HELLO@deepvue.com. Just the words Black Friday offer, and the support team, when they get back on Monday morning, will take care of you if you are interested in that offer. So with that, I will end it there. Thank you so much for joining on a Sunday. We had pretty good participation for this webinar for a Sunday. So I will see you guys in the next one, which will be next weekend. So be on the lookout for that. And I wish you guys a good weekend.